They say time never stops for anyone, but there are nights in a person's life that refuse to fade. Nights that stay alive in memory like burning candles in a dark room. This story begins on one such night, a night from the old world, when music was gentle, hearts were simple, and emotions were deeper than the ocean. It was the winter of 1949. The city was quiet, the streets covered in a thin layer of fog, and at the heart of the town stood an old vintage party club, glowing with warm yellow lights. Its wooden doors had witnessed countless stories of lovers meeting, friends drifting apart, and strangers turning into unforgettable memories. And on this particular night, those doors were about to witness a story that would shake two lives forever. A young girl named Nargis stood outside the club, holding her shawl close against the cold breeze. She wasn't a girl who visited such places. She preferred silence, books, painting, and her small world. But tonight, something inside her pushed her here, a curiosity she couldn't explain. She took a deep breath, pushed open the door, and stepped into a world she had never seen before. Soft jazz music floated through the air, chandeliers cast golden glows on the wooden floor, and couples moved slowly as if time itself walked with them. People were laughing, dancing, drinking, living in a world untouched by sorrow. Nargis took a few steps forward, her eyes wandering, until suddenly they stopped. Across the hall, sitting alone at a small wooden table, was a young man, Faraz. His presence was calm, his eyes thoughtful, and in his hands, he held an old, half-torn poetry book. He wasn't talking to anyone. He wasn't trying to be noticed, but something about him felt like a story waiting to be read, and Nargis felt pulled toward him without understanding why. For a moment she simply stared, hoping he wouldn't notice. But fate has its own timing. Faraz slowly lifted his eyes, and their gazes locked. That 1 second felt like a slow-moving dream, like the world had paused to let this moment happen. He smiled, soft, genuine, and Nargis felt her heartbeat skip for the first time in her life. She hesitated but walked toward him, each step louder than the music in her ears. "Is this seat taken?" she asked. Faraz closed his book. "Only if you aren't meant to sit here." They both smiled. That night they talked for hours, about poetry, art, life, dreams, fears. Two strangers sitting in a crowd, but creating a world of their own. And when the club finally dimmed its lights, neither of them wanted to leave. The next week, they met again, and again. And every meeting stitched their hearts closer. Friendship blossomed naturally, warm, gentle, effortless. Nargis would paint while Faraz read poetry to her. They'd walk through old markets, share stories of their childhood, laugh at small things, and sometimes sit in silence without feeling the need to speak. Slowly, silently, love began carving its place in their lives. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the old city roofs, Faraz took her hand, nervous yet certain, and said, "I don't know when it started, Nargis, but I can no longer imagine a world without you." Her eyes softened. "And I don't want to know a world without you either." That was the night friendship turned into love, and love into irresistible, consuming passion. Months passed like seconds. Their bond grew deeper, stronger, unbreakable, or at least they thought so. Soon after, they got married in a small ceremony under lantern lights. Their smiles were bright, their hearts full of dreams. People said they were made for each other. They believed it too. But after marriage, life began to test them. Faraz's responsibilities grew heavier. Work consumed him. Nargis tried to stay patient, tried to smile, but loneliness started filling the spaces he once filled with attention and affection. He came home late. He forgot promises. He became quiet. She became emotional. She felt abandoned. She overthought everything. Their conversations turned into disagreements. Disagreements into arguments, arguments into painful silence. One night, the storm finally broke. "You don't care anymore," she whispered through tears. Faraz snapped, "I'm tired, Nargis. Life isn't a club night. Grow up." Those words shattered her completely. She stepped back, her voice trembling. "If I'm a burden, say it. I'll leave." Faraz, blinded by anger, said, "Maybe you should." The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Two hearts broke in the same moment, but pride stood between them like a wall. The next morning, Nargis left. No fight, no farewell. Just a letter that said, "I hope you find the peace you lost, even if it's without me." Faraz found the letter too late. By the time he ran after her, she was gone. Out of the city, out of his reach, but never out of his heart. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Both tried to live, but living felt like punishment without each other. Nargis painted darker colors now. Faraz read the same poetry book every night, hoping it would numb the pain. They missed each other in every silence, every morning, every breath. But neither had the courage to go back. Until one stormy night, fate stepped in again. Faraz fell seriously ill while traveling. A stranger found his wallet, saw Nargis's old photograph, and somehow managed to contact her. Without thinking for even a second, she rushed to the hospital. And when she entered the room, Faraz opened his eyes faintly. A weak smile appeared. "See, you came back, just like the end of our favorite story." Tears streamed down her face as she held his hand. "I never stopped loving you. I just stopped fighting alone." Faraz whispered, "Then let's fight together this time." And for the first time in months, their hands held without breaking. That night, they realized something life tries to teach everyone, but only a few understand. Love isn't found in perfection. It's found in forgiveness. It's found in staying, even when leaving feels easier. Nargis and Faraz walked out of the hospital hand in hand, not as strangers, not as broken lovers, but as two people ready to rebuild a story they once let fall apart. And this time, they promised to choose each other, not just in moments of passion, but in moments of fear, silence, and storms. Because some love stories don't end where the hearts break. They begin again, exactly where the souls refuse to give up.